on ESPN3.com. Lacrosse fans here in Denver, Commerce City, Colorado to be specific, treated to bonus lacrosse. We are about to start the first of 2 4-minute overtimes.
The clock will be start-stop during these 2 4-minute overtime periods. Very reminiscent of soccer. You'll play both, and if there's no winner, it'll then be sudden victory. No penalty kicks.
In other words, I could outscore you 3-0 in the overtime, and it looks funny to see 15-12 as the final in OT, but that's what potentially could happen after 8 minutes. And the Aussies strike first. Quickly with Sam Bullock, making this a 13-12 margin.
Just a little wheel out, and no one picks up the man in the middle. Beautiful shot by Sam Bullock. And at least at the start of this overtime period, it looks like all the energy and the momentum belongs to the boys in yellow.
Australia tied it with 2 late goals, the last of which came from Will Pickett in the final 90 seconds of regulation. They start the first of these 2 4-minute overtimes with a goal from Sam Bullock. It's 13-12.
Wow. Violation against the Japanese, but clearly when you saw the Australian face-off man go down, the ball was not in the center of his stick.
The last time Australia had the advantage in this game, you got to go all the way back to 4-3, and that was in the second quarter. Will Pickett will take his time. Stiglish is next in line. Aussies in gold. The Australians who placed 3rd in 2010 in Manchester, England. Alex Brown's a 27-year-old attackman on the flip with Pickett, who's been dynamite attacking from the X. Here he comes again. The inside roll, he draws 2 defenders, though. Wisely there to help was Hironaka. Yamaguchi on the outside to defend as well. Newman working down from the top. Gets the jump there on the defender, Matsushita. The trail check, loosening up the ball, and Ryu Matsushita's on the go, looking for numbers the other way for Japan. Matsushita all the way to the cage, he'll fire. That was blocked a long way from the cooker, and Callum Robinson comes up with a ground ball. Robinson, who plays collegiately at Stevenson University in the Baltimore area under Paul Cantabene's direction.
Just not a smart play if you're the Japanese. Short stick D-midi coming in, uncertain of what to do with the ball. Pull it out, get it behind the cage, enjoy possession, and get a quality look. But that time it doesn't even make it to the cage, and Robinson with a great pickup, getting it back into the Australian sticks.
Mortimer on the interchange. Brown turns. Stephen Mortimer loops it back up top. On the short hop, good catch by Nigel Morton. He was attacked. The defensive play made by Andrew Lay, who has a couple of goals for Japan today. The keeper, Shinohara, gets into the act, and the Japanese will clear smartly with 1:40 to go in the first of 2 4-minute overtime periods. It's a cumulative overtime in World Championship play. Wataru Sugu, roughed up by Robinson, given a strong stick check.
Get a size difference.
Woo. Sekine, who has tallied today. Andrew Ham taking charge of him. As you watch from behind the netminder, Warren Brown, who came on for a presumably injured Tom Vickery. Matsushita on the throwback. That ball's down loose. Wataru Sugu overrun it. And it's Robinson to play. Scooped off the turf by Sekine behind the back. Brilliance! And it's just slugged wide.
Boy, that was a headshot. Absorbed by Matsushita. Look at the length of Callum Robinson. Forced a bad pass and he gets a ground ball. How about the behind the back pass and a cross check to the back of the head by Stephen Mortimer. Wow. No flags.
Oh, desperate times call for desperate measures, apparently.
And Matsushita staying in the game. How about the toughness of the Japanese attacker?
He has been very good today, working from the attack territory and his customary first midfield line. It's 13-12 for Australia if you're just tuning in. Joe Beninati and Mark Dixon with you down the stretch in this overtime affair. 45 seconds left in the first OT.
Looks like a late flag did come in, Joe. Great catch by the officials. Extra man for the Japanese.
Looking inside, this one's pounded into the turf but wide of the goal. Backed up there by Shunki Hatada. 30 seconds to operate in the first OT. A 1-goal lead for Australia thanks to Sam Bullock. They continue to move it around the perimeter. The dive attempt turned away. Ikegawa not able to foil Warren Brown. Australians run it to safety. Brown was begging for a call back behind the play. On the run, slingshot attempt turned aside. Shinohara makes the stop there on the crafty Thomas Graham. And we are halfway through the 8 minutes of overtime. The only goal in the first 4-minute frame for Sam Bullock. And the Aussies lead 13-12. We'll get you back for the next 4 minutes of extra time in just a few moments. Back to Dick's Sporting Goods Park. States, that game 5 p.m. Mountain Time on ESPNU. Japan will square off with the Iroquois tomorrow at 2 p.m. locally. Between now and then, they'll settle their first game in Blue Division play. We are in the second half of overtime, 13-12 for the guys in gold.
Japan coughed up that late lead. Gino has been terrific at the face-off dot. We'll see if he can get possession.
Brad Sheldon, the long pole, taking the face-off. Almost a surrender there, but it's Australia that comes up with it. How about that?
Good technique employed by Sheldon. Gino's played the ball predominantly at his feet all game long. Sheldon with the long pole disrupted his ground ball pickup, creates the turnover opportunity, and the Australians are back in business.
Just a reminder, this is a cumulative overtime. Should we be tied at the end of the next 3:30, we would then go to sudden victory overtime. Should the score remain the same, Australia would prevail. Round robin play in the 6-team Blue Division. United States and Canada with a day off. England and Iroquois will soon be warming on this field to end the full day of lacrosse action at the FIL World Championships. On the quick stick pass, good defensive work. Yamaguchi bowls it ahead. Robinson with speed got there, makes the stick check and keeps the ball for Australia.
Once again, the length of Callum Robinson, 6'5".
In the unsettled now, bang bang into the crease, off the crossbar! A chance for Australia to build on the lead, and it hit heavy metal.
There we see the looks, crisp passing, unselfish. Number 17, James Lawyerson, just rings it off of the iron.
Lawyerson setting a pick now for Anson Carter. He was stick checked. And the takeaway for the Japanese defenders. Totsuya Hironaka has been very stout defensively. Yamaguchi, who has scored in the first half, floats it along. Team Japan with the ball. Matsushita has handled it an awful lot today. Long range drive, score! From the parking lot! Tomohiro Hoshi.
You have got to be kidding me. Overtime. Game is on the line. And you've got a long stick midi taking a blind shot in transition. Look at this. He was going to shoot that, Joe, all the way. He knew when he was back in Arapahoe that he was going to shoot that ball. That is a long stick midi from the top of the restraining line, shooting on Warren Brown and scoring.
And a jubilant celebration from the 22-year-old Hoshi, shooting through 2 defenders. Ben Newman bends to the task now for Australia. Face-off overrun. Newman's going right to the goal. Determined right to the cage. Fires. Kick save. It was Shinohara with the stop. And the scoop. And he's cleaned out on the sideline.
Oh, how about the stick work by the Japanese long pole?
Fantastic action in this one. We are 13-13. 1 minute and 50 seconds left in overtime to decide it.
Each team does have a timeout in their back pocket. International rules, you call your timeouts in the offensive half of your field.
Motoshita for Andrew Lay. Subs coming in through the box for Japan. Racing to turn the corner. Right on in there. Warren Brown with a stop on Gaku Iwano. Takarua forced on the ride. Brown stabs that, the elder statesman on this team, and he'll connect with Newman, who had a glorious chance a few moments ago.
Beautiful jam on the face-off against Gino, but a terrific save by Shinohara. And how about the save from Warren Brown? We've criticized him for that high crease, but that high crease on that last save is what decreased the angle of the Japanese shooter.
Timeout, Australia. The Aussies, a goal from Sam Bullock in the first overtime, and now in the second overtime, it's a long stick defender.
I mean, Hoshi, that's like a desperation three-point shot in basketball almost. But the difference here is there was 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in the game. I think the Japanese realize if they get clean looks on Warren Brown, they're going to have a great opportunity to score. And Hoshi that time certainly felt that way.
The Australians squaring off with the Japanese. The Aussies, they've come in second in this tournament 4 times. Last time they did it was 1994. This is the first time the World Championships have been in the United States since 1998. In that tournament, Mark, there were 8 teams. In this tournament, 38.
It just speaks to the growth of the sport in the international realm with the addition of 30 nations, but also here in the United States. 1982, 1998, both the World Championships held at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland, the epicenter of lacrosse with New York and Baltimore. And now the fact that it's gone west here in Denver speaks to the growth of the international level as well as a national scope here in the United States.
66 seconds to go in this cumulative overtime. Should we remain tied after that, we will take another 2-minute break and then play into sudden victory overtime. First goal wins it.
Then we have some real fun.
Yeah, but the Aussies may just take it all the way down to the final gun here and shoot to thrill. With patience on the perimeter, it's Lawyerson throwing it on back. Pickett. Lawyerson took his eyes off of it. Still has it with 35 seconds to go.
The Japanese defense a little bit in the zone here, Joe.
Short stick defender Okabe, 12 in blue, is caught in the crossfire. Pickett on the pass inside. It's bounding wide of the cage. It caromed off of the attackman Marty Hyde, who's been blanketed today. Final 15 seconds. There's a whistle. I thought I heard a whistle. No goal there. No goal for Sugu. There was a whistle and a timeout called.
Fans watching and the players, people in the stands are going to say, why'd you call timeout? But I think the Japanese attackman was so wide open because the Australians heard the whistle and they stopped playing. How about this look inside? Japan in a little bit of a zone. No one accounts for Pickett inside, and how close was that shot by Marty Hyde? Look at this, Joe. Wide open on the crease, whole goal to shoot at. And look, it hits off of a Japanese defender. Got to snap that thing in and blow the goalie through the back of the cage if you're in that position to score.
This has been tremendous to watch. Japanese head coach Yoshihiro Okubo lecturing his charges. When I went to their practice, I was curious / hopeful that many of them would understand English, and then I was told that there are only 5 players on the entire roster who understand English. but they were kind enough to help me through the starting lineup. I learned the roster well, and then they have come on and played a brilliant game against Australia, full of entertainment, and now this frantic finish with 14 ticks left in overtime. That's a 41-year-old veteran goalie in the cage for the Aussies, Warren Brown.
Australia shutting everybody off. Callum Robinson working the Japanese midfielder.
And fighting him tooth and nail all the way on the rollback. Jump shot deflected by Robinson. That's really strong one-on-one defense.
Robinson versus Andrew Lay. Robinson holds him off just enough, and now we move on to first goal wins.
So these two teams will catch their breath for a couple of minutes, and then we go to sudden victory. The next goal will win it on ESPN3. Okay, now it's really nail-biting time for fans of Australia and Japan. Blue Division opening round game for these two nations. Deadlocked at 13 still after 8 minutes of overtime. So now we are in the sudden victory mode. The next goal will win. They put 4 minutes up on the board. Newman and Gino round and round on the draw. A friendly reminder, England and Iroquois will follow, but they will have a hard act to follow after this performance between Australia and Japan. The Aussies in gold get the first chance to gun for the win now.
And credit Newman, the face-off man for Australia. 2 big wins here in the extra frames when Gino had dominated the balance of the first 4 quarters.
The big man, Stiglish, in front of the goal. Will he be the target for Ben Newman? Newman works it back behind the cage. Will Pickett, who's been dazzling in the second half plus. Anson Carter for Pickett on the run. He's been picked up by a short stick defender. He likes the matchup. He draws the early double. Carter sifting back behind the goal. Over the top floats. Drive, score! Nigel Morton wins it for Australia. The hat trick caps the sudden victory.
Australia has benefited all game long getting the ball behind the cage. Japan does a lot of ball watching, and this is what they do on the game winner. Working the ball behind was Australia. Nigel Morton popped open up top and was able to get his hands free, make a quick move, and deliver the game winner.
An incredible performance by these two teams, and it ends this way.
All 6 Japanese defenders were staring the ball down. Nigel Morton finds a seam, catches it. By the time the defense is able to quote-unquote recover, he's got leverage, he's got balance, switches hands, and sticks the game winner.
And breaks the heart of Japan in the process and triggers an amazing celebration for the Aussies. They call themselves the Sharks. Australia wins its first game in overtime. A sudden victory setback for the boys in blue, who are touched with emotion coming up on the short end in this one by the final count of 14-13. For Mark Dixon, for all the production crew, Joe Beninati saying thanks very much for your time here from Commerce City, Colorado. Australia, a winner in overtime by the final count of 14-13. To watch the entire game on replay as well as other games on the family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. All hail Nigel Morton. He's the hero for Team Australia.